Skip the shopping struggle. Get curated outfits picked by stylists who know your taste.
We recently tried Wantable, and I love everything about them. They sent me a box full of stuff, and I think I kept 3 of the items and returned the rest. However, I noticed after I had sealed the bag and scheduled a pickup that I had forgotten to return an item and was so worried that I would be charged for it. I reached out to Wantable, and immediately they sent me a different return label to package up the item that I had forgotten to send. Not only is their stuff top tier, high quality, adorably cute garments, but their customer service is top notch. I 100% will continue using them. I've already purchased and received my second box, and I look forward to many boxes from them.
Get $25 off your first order by going to theactivitycontinues.com/wantable. Free shipping and returns. Wantable edits your style. Hey everyone, we want to welcome our new sponsor, Gobble. As you know, life can get pretty hectic. Between work, errands, and family time, who always has the energy to plan, shop for, and cook delicious meals every night? That's where Gobble comes in. It's a meal kit service that takes the stress and guesswork out of dinner.
I used to dread the what's for dinner question every night. Gobble has been a game changer. They deliver fresh, pre-portioned ingredients and easy-to-follow recipe cards right to your door.
Exactly. No more last-minute grocery runs or scrambling for inspiration. Plus, the recipes are incredibly diverse. From healthy options to comfort food classics, there's something for everyone.
And let's not forget that cooking together can be a fun family activity. Gobble's recipes are simple enough to involve everyone in the kitchen, even the little ones.
So if you're looking for a way to make delicious, stress-free meals that the whole family will love, head over to the link in the show notes or on our website to get your first 6 meals for $36.
Gobble.
Make dinner amazing.
Because we don't really have, there's no real structure to this. I just wanted...
Well, that'll be the first time.
Let's see how it goes. It's all new territory for us. Ghosty fam, Amy here. Welcome to The Activity Continues, a podcast where 3 soul friends talk about all things paranormal. Ghosts, hauntings, psychics, movies and TV shows, especially The Dead Files, and other spooky and spooky adjacent things as well. We also like to interview people in the paranormal community, as well as past Dead Files clients and other interesting people. Sometimes we even tell your stories. We hope you enjoy the show.
Hello. Hi, everybody. Thanks for joining us again. Today, we are taking a break from our interviews and our recaps, and we'll just be chatting about what we've been doing this season, what we have coming up, shows we're watching, podcasts we're listening to, pretty much anything that pops into our head, whoop's going to come out our mouth. So I'm here with my co-hosts, Amy and AP. AP, do we have any warnings? What are we kind of talking about today? What do we have for the people?
Hello, everyone. Please see the show notes for any content warning today. We don't know what we're going to talk about. Mm-hmm. We don't know. We don't know what we're going to talk about. We don't know where we're going to go. We know that all of us are feeling a little funky today.
Yeah.
And when that happens, things either fall, but usually skyrocket into oblivion. So
I would say hilarity.
Well, let's hope for that.
Yeah.
A few of us have tried to trail down. I told Amy she better have a fishing line ready just to pull us back out of these rabbit trails.
Yeah, it's fair. That's fair.
Nobody follow the balloons down the sewers, please.
Yeah,
please don't.
I know that's kind of my job to rein everybody in, but I am not that good at it because I don't like interrupting people and say, get back on track. So I just sit there going, how am I going to fix it? How am I going to?
No, see, you have to just find the little delicate ways when you're facilitating of being like, hey, I really appreciate that story, but we do need to talk about XYZ over here.
That's a great comment, Diane. But can we get back to what the fuck we're doing?
Hey, Joe, fuck off. That has nothing to do with what we're talking about.
No, thank you. We're not talking about that right now.
Yeah. So we have no idea what we're going to talk about other than we're going to just kind of chit chat over the last several months of all the stuff that we've been going through. It's kind of like a Q1 wrap up, a little late, but
yeah.
Honestly, it's not that. It's only like 3 weeks late, which in corporate world is basically on time.
Yeah. So. Well, when this comes
I do have
out,
a list of all the things.
About 8 weeks late.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
Yeah, we're nonprofit, so worry about that. Or factor that in.
Factor it in.
I do have, lists of all the things we're going to talk about.
No spreadsheet, though?
No spreadsheet. No.
I have my notes
disappointed in you.
about all the
I'm
things
not mad,
about.
Amy. I'm just disappointed.
I printed out AP's notes too.
Did you laminate it?
No, not yet. I got my laminating sheets right over here.
Well, this one's more of a shredded case after we're done with it. So
no, we want to remember this forever.
I mean, you know what? When we get famous, we can sign them.
Yeah.
Sell them on eBay.
It's
$1.95.
You can always just reprint.
Aim higher. $5. Okay.
Okay.
So going back to, everything that we wanted to talk about, Amy, it tells me that I'm supposed to just toss it to you now.
To me? Yeah.
Hope you can catch.
See, that was me throwing it to you.
Got it.
And everybody missed it.
I saw it. I saw you throw. I was just looking down and I didn't catch it. Hit me in the head right there.
Oh.
It was so far past me. I just didn't bother.
That's usually how I am in sports. Someone else will get it. I don't want to move.
I'm drinking a glass of milk for anybody who's wondering out of my Jiminy Cricket mug.
I am. This is wine.
Wine with fish.
Yes, this is
in the glass.
Bowl.
Not the fish is not in the wine.
No, it's dancing below it.
The fish wouldn't last long in the wine.
No, they wouldn't. I'd be very drunk and then dead.
I have a lemon lime soda from Target.
All right. Well, should we dive in on the things that we want to talk about? We can certainly stray, which I know we will.
We already have.
Several times, actually.
I want to go over just kind of we don't really have to dive deep into anything, each specific thing, but I just want to do a few comments about the things that we've done in the past from up until this point, from mid-season or whatever.
Yep. And that's what I did. I just kind of went through and put a couple bullet points in of different things I remember from each of those.
Yeah. I'm glad you did that because when I read through it, I was like, oh, I forgot about that. Oh, I forgot about that.
I looked through some of my notes.
Oh, look at you.
Yeah.
You
AP for extra credit today.
Smart. And she's making me look bad. Thanks a lot.
So the last episode we did was, of course,
super fun.
Spirit Mechanics.
Delightful.
Oh my God. So when we finished, my face hurt so bad from laughing so hard. That whole thing about the laminating
and the shifters.
Oh my God. It was
hilarious.
It was funny. Yeah.
It was good. Yeah.
And just super cool people who really, really, really care about helping people who need help. So I'm, I know we said this a lot and I'm posting this in all the socials for that episode. But if anybody listening has any sort of haunting or anything going on in their home, but they need this kind of help, call them, email them. They will help you or they will find somebody who will. And they don't charge anything unless they need to travel and then they need help with travel expenses.
And then you just pay the travel expenses, but they don't charge a fee like per hour or per day or whatever. And it doesn't end when they leave.
Right.
They continue the care.
Aftercare
to make sure that you're doing okay, your family, whoever was affected is doing okay. So they're just delightful people. So please listen to that episode if you haven't.
Yeah.
Yep. And I would say just to throw in with that too, is those of us who don't need a haunting, cleansing, or any of that sort of thing, they do have a list of other offerings on their website where it is a pay for, but that would be something that would help them continue to be able to offer help to others as well. Right. So I know we talked a little bit about the chakra alignments and that kind of stuff. So I am very intrigued in maybe I'll look into that in a little bit later.
Mm-hmm. Tarot reading, aura reading. Mm-hmm. They do a lot of different things. They sell tarot cards.
Mm-hmm. Yep, they have a whole store. They have a
gosh.
Brick and mortar store, but they also have an online store where they sell crystals and tarot cards, oracle cards. They have something on their website. It's called a Calm Your Tits roll-on. I meant to ask them what it was, and we just never got to that. So I don't know what it is. Perfume, essential oils.
I would think
I don't know.
Maybe essential oils, but
it's a roll-on
the name.
Of Calm Your Tits.
Yeah.
And I kind of want to buy it just because I like it.
Mm-hmm. I like the name. That way when someone is like, oh my God, you smell so good. What is that? And you could be like, first of all, calm your fucking tits. Second of all, that's also what it's called. Thank you.
Yeah, they were really cool. Oh, Amy, you say something else?
Oh, I was just going to say, and I think that episode was probably Amy had to do a lot of work on, but is a great reminder of how technology is great and it allows us to do a lot of things. Mm-hmm. But oftentimes, depending on location and what's going on, there are lags and there are issues that we can't overcome in the moment. But probably many of you are working from home or working remotely or having Teams meetings or chat meetings or whatever in similar situations. So it was just one of those. It was like, there's a couple times where airspace hung for a minute and we're like, are they frozen? Is something happening?
I'm like, did they misunderstand? Did they not hear me? Did they know I'm talking to them?
I kept watching the fan in the background.
Yeah, there's ceiling fan.
If you watch the ceiling fan, all of a sudden it would start to slow down. It's like, oh, that's when we're losing.
The internet lagged. Yeah.
I knew that there was a lag when I would make a joke and nobody would laugh. And I was like, oh, there's a lag. Yeah. Because
Megan, that wasn't the leg.
No, shut up. It was too. I'm hilarious.
In comedy, timing is
everything.
Everything. Yes.
Yeah. So that's how I knew it was a lag because I'm like, okay, that joke was fire.
That totally would have sailed if anybody could have heard it. Yeah.
Like Magellan.
Yeah. Yeah. It really wasn't that
Magellan
bad.
was on a sailboat. Or like a big ship that sailed. Because they didn't have motors back then.
Yes, I know. But it's just like, of all the references you could have gone with.
Well, I wanted to say Magellan. Because if I said Christopher Columbus, then he got here on accident. And that's not what I wanted.
We don't want to.
Well, he didn't stop for directions.
Well, I know. But that's what I say. I tell people I'm like Christopher Columbus because I get to places on accident. There's doesn't make sense for me to get there, but I've lived in the Twin Cities now almost 10 years. I think it actually this year might be 10 years. Oh, nope, 11. Math. 11 years I've lived in the cities and I still need my GPS.
Oh, yeah. I've lived here all my life and I still do. The only time I don't is if I'm going somewhere I've been 100 times.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's confusing.
I know.
There's a lot of roads.
There is a lot of roads and they all have different names.
Or sometimes the same name.
Yeah.
But they're different roads.
Oh, especially when you're out in the suburbs, it'll be like something circle, something trail, something. And I'm like,
the same name.
You can't be like, I live on Glenwood.
No.
Well, Glenwood, what? There's 500 of them.
Do you know what the most common street name is in the United States?
Elm Street.
Second. Second Street, Second Ave, any of those things, because First Street or First Ave is often Main Street. So Second is the most common.
That makes sense because then if there's only 3 streets in some towns, it's not going to go up to 14, 15. Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right.
I don't think I've ever seen a 15th Street. Oh, I bet New York City has them.
Oh, down at the U. I lived on 14th.
Did you really?
Yep. Down at the U. Yep.
Oh.
Yep. And there was a 15th.
Learning something about you still.
Right there,
9
years away. Yeah. How long has it been?
9.
Has it really?
Yeah. 2015 is when I started working at the place that we both hate.
The place that had
Lord Voldemort's.
Yes.
Steel Train. It's the Steel Train.
God, our boss. Okay, moving right along. So before Spirit Mechanics, we interviewed the lovely, lovely Barone ladies, Melissa,
Michelle, and
Krista. I was putting their names together.
Were amazing.
Oh, they were so much fun.
They were and Krista was a Libra.
Yes.
She still is.
I mean, she still is. She hasn't changed. But
her birthday is one day before mine.
Nice.
Her birthday hasn't changed.
No, that we know of.
No.
Now that one was great, but in a completely different way than Spirit Mechanics was, because that one, it was like we had been friends for decades, and it was like it just flowed so perfectly.
Yeah.
To the point where Amy really struggled editing it, because it was like we would talk over each other, and then Amy and I would talk over each other, and then Krista and Michelle would talk over each other. But it was so fun. They were delightful.
They were.
They were so sweet.
Yeah, they were. I will say, in editing, I found a lot of things that I did not hear at the time, because
all of my jokes.
I'm married to an interrupter. So I have trained myself to listen to the person who is talking. And if somebody interrupts, they don't exist to me. I have to block them out so I can pay attention to the person who is speaking. So, and in fact, we just did this the other day. I was explaining something to Greg. I was telling him about a job I saw online, and I was telling him about the job, and he just kept saying something to me. And I'm like, I'm talking, so I'm just going to keep talking. And then he goes, "What's the pay? I've asked you 4 times." And I said, "Oh, is that what you were asking? You interrupted me, and so I wasn't listening to you."
You should be like, "Oh, I'm sorry. Did the middle of my sentence interrupt the start of yours?"
Exactly. So when we're all doing that, and this is why I can't watch The View. It makes me absolutely insane.
Well, and they're annoying.
But they used to be good back in the day.
They used to be when they first started.
Yeah.
But trash.
Yeah, no, I can't listen to it. Well, actually, I don't know. I gave it up like 10 years ago. But
that the one Sharon Osbourne's on?
Is she? No?
She was on a talk show.
Oh, I don't know.
Anyways,
No,
as I interrupt you, I'm so sorry.
I'm surprised I even heard you. Just kidding. So I don't hear everything when people are talking over each other, but when I'm editing it, I'm like, "Oh, she was saying something at the same time." You should see the WAV files in Audacity. Every single track is like talking. So I will like play one person's track and be like, "Okay, that's what I heard." And then I'll play the next person's track. And I'm like, "Oh my God, I didn't even hear that. That was hilarious."
That's me.
So then I try to like time shift it, like put a space in so I can make that part in so you can hear it. So if you guys listen to these episodes after I'm done editing them, you're going to hear stuff you didn't hear. I guarantee you're going to hear stuff that you did not hear in real life.
I'm used to, when I was teaching and everything, is you just start paying attention to everything around. So like I struggle when I'm in the office and there are 4 people on phone calls near me and I need to be on a call and I need to talk, but I can hear everybody else's conversation going on because I'm not trying to listen, but I can hear all the different parts of the conversation, and it all catalogs.
And I can't like stop listening to it.
I used to do that, but I can't anymore. I had to learn how to.
And I'm like, I don't want to hear about Sally Joe over here making plans and Billy Bob doing his thing. Like, I need to focus.
Yeah. I think I learned how to focus when we were working at the place together, Megan, because we were all in one big room and everybody's yakking on their phones and to each other and throwing fucking
paper airplanes and balls and football and basketball.
I had to block everybody out in
and
order
giving
to get
inappropriate
done.
Massages to married men.
Oh God, don't get me started on
Speaking of more yakking, our next 2 episodes were the 2 previous ones to those with Leah and History Goes Bump.
Yes. We did that too.
We're also yackers.
Yeah. Yeah, we were.
And we met Leah in person, which we were very, very excited for.
Yes, we did a little happy hour with Leah. That was really nice.
She's just as sweet as you can imagine.
She is. She's the best.
Yeah.
And I just want to mention one thing. When we were talking about AP, you brought up something about Wisconsin, your parents or grandparents or something.
Yes. When we were talking to Leah at happy hour.
I mentioned, I know it was right at the beginning when we were talking. She's actually originally from Wisconsin.
She's from Wisconsin. That's what it was.
I went to school in Wisconsin.
Me too.
So that's what we were talking about. Maybe you mentioned that too, Megan. I don't remember, but Leah goes,
I almost went there.
She looks over like to the side and she goes, "Oh, and a man just walked in and sat down in that table wearing a Green Bay Packers hat."
Yep.
And she's like, "Thanks, universe. That was fun." And that's kind of thing like I wouldn't even have thought like that was a little nod from the universe or whatever. I wouldn't even have thought that, but I thought that was really cool.
But
so good.
I was going to say, when we met with Leah, and I think she talked about it in the episode too, but she talked about how she had somebody who sat down next to her at a restaurant when she was on her travels. And she just was like, is this person really here? And she just kept talking and whatever. And then she was kind of like, okay, they're trying to get my attention. She said, this is not normally how this works for her. And all I could think about is like Long Island Medium, where she, you know, we always see in the show where she goes up, I'm sorry, this is so weird, but I need to say something. And it's a little bit like what Leah had to do, and just to let somebody know that their loved one was thinking of them there.
And happy that they were on the trip they were on.
Yeah. Which made me think that that person maybe passed before the trip.
Yeah.
And the woman was maybe like, I'm not going to go.
Do I go?
Then she decided to go anyway. Yeah. Yeah. I don't know for sure if that's what the story is, but that's what I felt.
That's what we're thinking. That's what we're making up. Yeah. But it was a really, really, really sweet story that she told. So.
And I know delightful. there was so many stories that she told, and I know there was a lot of like amazing growth and everything. What I really loved about that time too is we heard a little bit more about her own family connections and some of the, you know, the reasons why she's gone into directions that she has with getting messages or confirmation from family. And so I feel like it's a way for, you know, Amy, as you mentioned, with the not realizing the Packers hat could have been something as a sign, but for us to open up a little bit and see like, okay, how many shows do we watch and listen to where they don't say coincidences happen or like
There's no such thing.
Yeah, there's a reason why things kind of happen out there. And you know, we had my grandparents' celebration of life yesterday, and it was probably the most beautiful day that has been in the forecast for the week prior, and even to the ones that are coming up. We've got some cool and rain coming yet, and yeah, I can't help but think that there was a little bit of maybe they hit a little nudge into having a nice weather day. So
yeah.
That's basically, I know I told you guys I went to a funeral today. It wasn't actually a funeral. It was a party. It was, so, you know, Melissa, our composer, of our beautiful intro. It's her father-in-law who passed away not too long ago. So Tony, her husband, Tony, our realtor, his father, Frankie, and my dad were very close. They were very good friends. They did the show that my dad did the whole time he was like old and running this New Fogey Follies, it was called. And it was basically like a review variety show thing for senior citizens. And Frankie was the piano player. So he did all the music for the show. And so this took place at Chanhassen Dinner Theater. And the room was full to bursting. Like you were standing like this. The room was filled with actors, musicians.
How fun.
Comedians. All
That's
sorts.
awesome.
So it was, and I kept thinking my dad would love to have been here.
I bet he was.
He was. I'm sure he was. Yeah.
He and Frankie were probably there.
Oh,
Frankie was like, I can't believe that person came. Like, I didn't even know them.
Can't believe she'd show her face.
Yeah. And in that outfit.
But it was really sweet. People came up and told stories about him and stuff. And then we had to leave just before Melissa was going to play.
No.
I bummed I didn't get to hear her play, but we had to race.
I'm sure it was perfect.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Of course, because she is perfect. But anyway,
she is.
Yeah, so that celebrations of life are I love that. So way to go. Yeah. I don't want a dour funeral. I want a party.
I want the fun in funeral, please. Not, I want the party.
We put the FU in funeral.
Well, and like our cousins chat. So on my mom's side of the family, which this was, we're all really pretty close. And Tammy and Kelly, my sister and my cousin, we were texting. We're like, so what's everyone wearing? Because I'm pretty sure grandma would want us wearing like bright colors and things. And yeah, and it was perfect because Kel and I got our tattoos, you know, a little over a week ago, and they do represent not just our birth months, but I was born 4 days after my grandma Stanley, and she was born a day after our grandma Piersack. So,
cool, nice.
That's so cool.
Yes,
I love. Do you want to show your tattoo? Do you have a sleeve you can roll up so our friends can see it? Beautiful. I know you showed it in one other time too, but I think we ended up cutting that whole section. So I just wanted people to see it.
But yeah,
really
so
pretty.
it's the marigolds and cosmos, and then daffodil, and then Kelly also chose cherry blossoms because March birth month flowers are both narcissus variety.
Cool. I don't know what's our birth flower. I don't know.
I just told you.
You told me like 7 different flowers. Marigolds and cherry blossoms.
No, marigold and cosmos.
Those are ours?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to go with Cosmo. I don't like marigolds.
Oh, I love marigolds.
I do. Pretty.
They remind me too much
know what
of
a Cosmo looks like. I mean, I know what a Cosmo looks like. I
was going to say, Amy, I think...
come on, it's pink.
Don't lie to us.
Yeah.
Don't lie.
That kind of Cosmo I know. And the sky kind I know.
Yeah, the flowers, the cosmos, they're kind of like a... similar to a little bit like a daisy marigold mix.
Oh, okay. Okay. Cool. Okay. Look at that. Off track again.
Yep.
All right. So then
they're very pretty.
She's looking at flowers now.
See that, yeah. Her face changed color. I can tell when she's on her computer, kind of face changed.
They're very pretty. Okay, yes.
Yep.
Okay, so then we also did...
They look like your tattoo.
Gee!
That's good.
That is not something I saw coming.
Thank God I'm here to tell you guys because
we did just draw it in the dark. So,
well, good job. Good on you.
But yes, history goes bump.
Yes, history goes bump.
God, I love them.
Diane and Kelly, so much fun. Very professional in that they did not talk over each other or over us. So it was great.
Yeah.
Diane's had 10 years of experience.
Taking notes. I know.
Yes.
I know. We've only been doing this for a couple of years. I did this for another year with my other friend, but it was just me and Heather.
Mm-hmm.
We really didn't talk over it. We didn't get like, blah, 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 because we were just talking about...
No, you did stay very professional.
I mean, we tried. We'll see.
And then there's us, just completely bazonkers.
Yeah, it's fine. But yes, history
They're
goes
delightful.
Great. They were so much fun. Yeah.
We also were on their podcast too, if you didn't know that. So
yeah, a few weeks before.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. So we're all besties now.
Yep.
Yeah.
They don't know it, but we are.
Yep.
I love the story that Kelly told of the painting that her parents had.
Yes.
That she had in her house, and then she brought it back. Like, my brain is still like, come on, somebody take that in, get it evaluated. As she said, with how dark and heavy it is, there's got to be something underneath it.
There's probably 10 paintings in there that have been painted over. I also would love to see a picture of it. I would love to get a picture of it and put it out like for everybody to look at. And so people like Zoe who can see things that aren't there would be able to look at it. And
how would you even like go about trying to see what it was painted over? Like, how would you even do that?
I mean, you'd have to take it to a specialist.
You'd have to.
Right, but like, what do they do?
They put something on the top layer so they can peel the top layer of paint off without getting down to the next one. So,
jeez, that sounds tedious.
It
is.
There's people. It takes years to do it for some paintings.
Where how they can tell if a painting is an original painting and how some of the ones that we've seen in museums and things are fakes, and they can figure that out. And a lot of it is due to the aging process and the types of what's in the paint and all that.
And the colors.
When that paint was made.
Yep.
Yep.
They probably didn't have marigold back when Leonardo da Vinci was painting.
Yeah. AP, would you like to say something about that?
She's really fighting it. She's fighting it.
It's not a fun fact, but I mean, they are flowers that have been around for a very long time. So
yeah, but you know what though? You know what I mean. Okay.
Do I?
No.
Okay.
I don't even know what I mean.
Do I know what I mean? Not really.
Do I know what I mean?
Like, does she mean the color or
I meant the name.
Okay.
That was a bad example.
My guess is that paints back then were made with flowers to make.
Why you gotta be like this?
Yeah, there's a lot of the pigments and everything.
I know. I'm just teasing you because
isn't there a paint color that is made with bug shells? Yeah,
there's
which one it is.
Yeah, been a few different ones. That
Puce.
Some of that. No,
should be because that's gross.
Sounds like it. Okay, and then do you have anything more to say with History Goes Bump?
I was gonna say I had talked with them a little bit about like the ghost tours, like when you go somewhere and you do like a haunted tour or whatever. And so I actually did message Diane when I booked my one for Salt Lake City. So I'm excited to.
Nice. Did she have any pointers or?
She hasn't been out there. So I just said, hey, I'll let you know how this, for me, there's just a lot of the history stuff that's in there. And like, you see a window that's got lace behind it. So your brain plays tricks on you and you might see something. But I love just getting to understand a little bit of the history of the area. So I'm pretty excited for that. And I'll tell you all about it when I get back.
Great. I can't wait.
Yay.
Yeah, that sounds really fun.
So mark your calendars for that, folks.
Okay, so then we don't have to go too much into this one. Amy and I did a recap together because Megan was out celebrating her husband's birthday.
That I love very much. Blah, blah, blah.
Blah, blah, blah. He's fine. He's great.
Happy ever after.
I just put like
romance.
Those kids that are in the show are teenagers to closing in on 20 at this point, because that show is in season 2.
Right, that was an oldie.
And so they were 4 and 7 or something like that. And
I hardly remember that one.
Yeah, I wanted to just said I really hope that the mom got the counseling that she needed. And it did say at the end of the episode that she was getting the grief counseling, and it was kind of, it seemed like the episode was a little bit of an eye opener to her. Like,
yes,
other people have told me that I haven't processed, I haven't grieved. And I just I've been reading a lot of like Reddit stories lately. Just like I get bored, I flip through some. And one recently I read was about a person whose mom had a child before they were even born that passed away. And then they lived their entire life in the shadow of this one that had passed away. And I was like,
that's hard.
It's really
right. And so you just got to hope that it did sound like that Melissa was getting the help she needed to avoid some of that emotional trauma being placed upon her living children.
Right.
And then just was like, hope that the kids are also able to do, because they both had abilities. And and Nathan,
especially that little boy.
Nathan was like so far advanced. Like Amy was like, I don't even understand this.
Yeah, she's like, this is more advanced than I've ever seen, especially in a kid. That's crazy. And I would love to, hey, if the clients, if you're out there on that episode, which was, I forgot what,
season 2, Evil Underground, April 12th in 2013.
Yeah.
And that one was Lily from Haunted Happy Hour. Shared that one because it was in Illinois.
Yeah, that was her choice, her recommendation.
And would love to know too if how their abilities have developed and if they've wanted them to, or if they've been able to just put them
shut down.
Yeah, shut them down. And then this was Kia Cook.
Yeah.
And so did they, at the end of that episode, they were still looking for a tribal representative to help them release Kia Cook and all of the trapped spirits who we don't get an idea of who those spirits might have been. But Amy, you and I were like, I don't think that they would have been native spirits. I think they were other spirits that died in his vicinity.
Yeah, it seems weird for him to have collected his own people and kept them there. But yeah.
And I have no idea what they're talking about because I did not watch this episode because I cannot do child death.
Yeah. And it wasn't just child death in history. It was current.
It was current.
Yeah. So that's why we skipped
child
that one
death
originally.
In history is
it's
easier.
Not fun either, but
no.
Yeah.
But it's easier because, nobody that most of the time, nobody that it directly affects is still alive.
Exactly. Yeah.
So
there's that. And then we did the Spring Break series, which was 6 episodes that we each picked wild. 2. Ghost Gone Wild. And that was fun. That was
super
AP's
fun.
idea.
Yes.
And I love it.
Yeah.
And I think we're going to redo it again in the winter and do it
in the summer for winter episodes.
Yes, that's what it is. Do it in the summer and pick episodes that
I was just going to
take place in really hella cold places like Buffalo, New York and shit. So
yeah, I thought it was
fun.
Really enjoyed it because it gave us like an anchoring of a theme, but then all the episodes, like we had some from very early on, some from more recent. We had businesses, we didn't look at any other part of the title, you guys, or all of you all. We literally looked at where does it take place?
Yeah.
And that was days and gays.
Yes. Yeah, I thought it was really interesting. And hopefully, as everybody kind of went through too, there was some infuriating episodes like the NOLA restaurant guys.
Yes, the vessel.
Oh, God, I can't even with them. Full on basic bitch right there. I can't even.
And even like at the Hawaiian plantation one, there was two sides, because we had the sides where we learned, I mean, we've always kind of had that show of respect of spirits and history and that sort of stuff. And we see that, but then we also see the one guy who just sees dollar signs in front of his eyes.
Yeah.
So we had both of those in the
I was
scene.
so frustrated
that
with them.
Was so infuriating.
He was like, well, we're just going to keep doing it, even if Amy says to not do it.
Yeah, well,
and it's like, then what the fuck are you here for?
No.
Yeah.
You're wasting all of our time.
Right.
Yep.
Well, and the poor guy who was the client who called them in,
and he wasn't there anymore.
He was gone.
Left his job before they even finished film, or not before they finished filming, but
I think before they released it.
Before it released, yeah.
Then there was the hotel one that was in California.
Not Hotel California by the Eagles.
No.
Different.
It was the one that they kept saying is it was like the center of the town. It's a staple of the, the landmark part of the
that's
town.
right.
We can't close because
it was my
they
first
need
choice.
It.
Yep.
The community revolves around this place.
And again, that was one of those interesting ones that was like, well, why do we keep going with this? But it did seem like the owner who called them in wanted to get some notoriety about having the hauntings there, whereas others on the staff really were like, can we please just make this workable?
Safe.
And this Amy said it was one of those that had so much history and so much activity. It would take decades to get rid of. Yeah. And so she gave them like steps so that they could
manage it.
Yeah. And I don't remember I don't think he went through a lot of that.
No, I don't think so. I don't recall exactly. That was also a long time ago.
But I do have a question for you two.
Oh, crap. I didn't know I had to study.
I didn't study anything.
And this can also go out to listeners.
This is where AP's teacher side comes in. I like to call this a pop quiz.
So my question, and again, listeners, you can also message us or share your stories or your thoughts on this. But I do really like the business ones because they are different. And there's, maybe not so much connection to a family having some harm or something being done. But after watching these with a more critical eye, what are things that you have noticed about these different businesses? The good and the bad.
I'm going to be straight. I don't really like the business ones because I feel like most of the time, and not all businesses, but a lot of times.
Hashtag not all businesses. But a lot of times they're doing them just to be put on the map. To get a 1 hour free advertisement.
To get free advertisement.
Especially the ones that you see, like they've also had this ghost show and that ghost show and this ghost show.
And we do ghost tours and, and that really upsets me because they're taking space away from people who are actually struggling and who, like Michelle and Carissa, like Krista. Sorry, what did I say?
Carissa.
Krista. Her brother was so bad, he couldn't even be interviewed on the show.
Yeah.
He was so tormented.
Yeah.
And thank God he's better now, but it's because of the show and because of the help that they got. And the fact that a lot of these businesses, hashtag not all businesses, seem to bring these in just for the advertisement really upsets me. So I'm not a big fan of the business ones.
Oh, I will still continue to suggest those ones.
I like watching them, but it just makes me mad because they took away from somebody. Like,
I definitely agree to that.
I like the
only
them.
Explanation is paranormal.
That's right.
So
I do like them for I think it's interesting. It's fun to be able to, those usually have more access to looking up stuff about them now. Like we can look at that movie theater one. That was a really good episode.
That was good.
And then we're like, there are so many cool stories about it. Like, I mean, I shouldn't say cool. It was a murder. But there were,
interesting.
we could look into the history of these and be like, oh yeah, that was interesting. And there's more stuff that they didn't show.
That one also had the group that they had some issues with the owning group, and that got switched over from the time
there was lawsuits.
Yeah, there was lawsuits and everything from the time that episode aired to when we recapped it.
Right. Speaking of hashtag, that was a hashtag Me Too.
Yes, it was.
That was going on there with not the owners that were on the Dead Files.
Nobody that was on the interviewed on the Dead Files.
Right.
But
no people that owned it after that, I think.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so I do like the business ones for that reason. But I agree with you, Megan. It pisses me off that, especially when you get at the end and they're like, yeah, we're not going to do any of that. Sign up for our ghost tours. Then I'm pissed.
Curious though, when you look at some of those business ones and then you look at some of the individual ones, so playing a little devil's advocate here because I
think I know where this is going.
When you get some of the individual ones who call in the Dead Files, beg for their help because it's their dream house and they can't afford to move, or someone's gonna die, our marriage is gonna break up, we'll do anything to do this. Then they get their list of things from Amy. And they're kind of like, yeah, no.
Yeah.
Or in
those
some
are
cases,
frustrating too.
And in some cases, we know that those are, maybe they can't get those things into, but it is a little bit of the playing that side of getting your 15 minutes of fame kind of thing.
Yeah.
So, and I'm not going to disagree with you on that because that does happen. I will say that. And I lost my train of thought literally in the middle of what I was saying.
Where you're going with that though, too, is that it is because of what Amy said about you can find more information about the businesses. So the business's name recognition sticks around longer. Like we know we can see some of that come through. Yeah. And I think that's the interesting juxtaposition of looking at both of those or looking through the years at where they didn't allow so much of that to happen or they didn't show the name or say the name of the place.
I will say with businesses, I like when they interview a lot of like the customers or they're like man 1, man 2, or the employees. I do like that because it does give you more, what's the word I'm looking for? Interactions, and more, what's the word? Evidence that you wouldn't get with,
because it's not all the same family.
It touches more people, like more people experience it. So I like that. But I just, you're taking away from people like Krista and Michelle and their family who really desperately needed them to come in.
Yep.
And that ticks me off. Or like the one, I can't remember which one it was. It might have been the Villisca axe murder where they found a Ouija board under the couch.
No, that was Lizzie Borden.
Lizzie Borden. I knew it was a famous one, but that one and don't with the Ouija boards, everybody.
Yeah. You mean the $12.99 buy your own demon?
Buy your own demon,
which is a very nice segue into what I'm going to
take that $20 later.
We got to talk about.
You weren't supposed to mention it, AP.
We got to talk about. It was
supposed to be organic,
Dustin. So we all 3 of us went down to the Fitzgerald Theater,
and Skeptic Greg tagged along.
He did. Well, he was my driver. I was like, "Do you want to come? Will you drive us down there?"
I could hear his eyes rolling.
Yeah,
they hit the floor once or twice.
Yeah, once or twice. So that's why I had him sit on the other side of me, so he wasn't sitting next to either of you. But anyway, we went down to the Fitzgerald Theater in St. Paul and saw Dustin Pari. Show is called Ghosts Do You Believe?
We do.
It's still playing right now. I think by the time this airs, the tour will be done. Even if it's not, I don't think it hurts to put this out here because he has put stuff out. He puts out like videos of what's going on in the show. It's not a secret. So basically the way the show is set up is he stands up there and tells stories, and then there's like a screen behind him where he shows some videos of he used to be on Ghost Hunters.
I was just going to say, who is he, Amy?
Yeah. He is a paranormal investigator who was on Ghost Hunters when he was just a young lad.
It was so long ago, everybody.
Blonde tipped
hair. He had frosted tips and he wore the golf visor.
Yeah.
Upside down and backwards.
Yeah.
That is very aughts.
With his white spiky hair coming through
bleached,
the top.
frosted tips. Yep.
And what I remember, because I watched that show from the beginning, what I remember is that when he came on the show, they were like this little pipsqueak and he would show up late or whatever. And Jason and Grant were like, we got to set this guy straight. And they did. I mean, I'm not saying it's all due to
He was
them,
a gem.
He was really
delightful.
Sweet. He's now, all grown up. He's a father, a husband. He calls himself a non-judgmental Christian, which I was like, I would like to see what that looks like. But and he seems to be. I mean, he seems like a very up and up, nice person.
Yeah.
For humanity.
We laughed, we cried.
Yes. Oh, we cried.
Oh, when he talked about his mom.
His mom passed away last summer, so summer of 2023, and he has the experience of being he's a paramedic as well, and so he was there with her, and
it was the way he tells it. It was heartbreaking.
It was a beautiful story.
But also there are comforting aspects to it. But I mean, he's a really good storyteller. And I mean, I looked over at Amy, not AP, but Amy, because I was in the middle of them. And we're just like, just ugly crying. Like it was
really sweet.
He cried a little bit telling about it. It was good.
He got a message from her.
He did.
As she was being carted out the house.
Because she died at home.
Yeah, it was a really,
and he does take questions from the audience too, which was really cool.
And one of the questions I have to look up on the drive because I took a screenshot.
Was it the one about the succubus?
Oh no!
Do you remember
you
that
talk
one?
about that while I'm looking for the other one.
There was somebody that was like asking if.
That's right.
If they can have sex with ghosts or if ghosts.
Oh yes, can you have sex with ghosts? He was like, I thought this was going to be a PG show.
They said, can you make love to a ghost?
Oh, that's true.
Even worse.
No. Even worse. I'm going to go with no on that one. I think you probably have sex, but I don't think you make love.
How do you have sex? You don't have, and there's nothing physical.
But if they can grab you in the shower, like Michelle's succubus ghost.
But can they do it for a long enough time?
What was it? Was it the show Lost Girl?
Physical.
Yes, Lost Girl.
Physical. Okay.
Megan and I both watched that. Yeah.
That was a good show. I still need to finish it.
It was so good.
You have a problem with finishing
It's hard for me to finish a show. I need to be like right now I'm watching Avatar: The Last Airbender, the cartoon. I've seen it.
I've seen Shadow and Bone?
No. I've seen the whole series at least 5 times and I still have to gear myself up for when it ends because I don't like when shows end. I know it's weird. Don't make fun of me, but I need to be in the right frame of mind.
It took me probably a year to watch the last episode of Parenthood because I couldn't deal with the fact that it was over.
Yeah,
I get it.
That was a good show though, Lost Girl.
Yeah, it was.
What I
really
saw.
Fun show.
Did you find the question you were looking for?
I did. So the way that this worked is that Dustin did like an hour-ish, hour plus a little bit of this show where he just told stories and showed video clips and stuff like that. And then he said, okay, we're going to break. There's a QR code, scan it with your phone, send me a message. The second half of the show was largely those questions put up on the big screen and people asked their questions to him and he answered them. And my favorite was, how do you feel about the networks shelving most of the paranormal shows out there and keeping some that are less credible on the air? And everybody laughed. Everybody burst into laughter.
Knew.
And he goes, I don't know what you're talking about. Which was even funnier.
Yes. Because he did.
Yeah.
Because we all do.
Exactly what we were talking about. And I don't even remember exactly what he said, except that he was like, well, it's what happens.
That's what money talks. And if you could.
And now all those shows are on YouTube. So go on over to YouTube and
support them.
Watch everything.
Yep.
Yeah.
I have a call out for everyone. If you go to a show like this, don't be an asshat and make noises just because you were brought there by probably your girlfriend or your wife, and you just sit there and make you're sitting there. Well, in this case, it was I'm talking specifically about this douche canoe.
Yes,
and
he was right behind us.
Yes,
yeah.
And he was shouting out, just trying to be funny, but he was just a dick.
He was a dick.
Everybody else paid to be there too.
Yeah.
Justin handled it really well.
He did. He was very good at it. But
it was
AP and I were getting so annoyed.
It was getting frustrating and just it was not necessary. And I don't think anybody else. Like the first time, okay, funny.
Mm-hmm.
The 15th time,
yeah,
the horse is dead. Quit kicking it.
Yeah.
right,
Yeah.
right.
The horse is dead and it's completely rotted and all that's left is bones. So let's maybe leave it
Just
alone.
shut the fuck up. Yeah.
Yes. So
Please don't do that. Not that any of our listeners would.
No, but it was
of course
just
not.
it was just one of those, like, have some class,
Respect.
sir.
And respect.
Yeah.
For all I mean, it was a full theater. Like this was not 20 people in, the
Right.
back of a restaurant. Like this was a big theater.
It's a big theater.
Yeah, there was even
Full.
people in the Lincoln boxes, as I called them.
And I was like, how do you know they're named the Lincoln boxes?
It's like, give it a minute. Just give it a minute.
Yeah.
So for those of you who can't guess, it's the little side balcony boxes that are there, which
Abraham Lincoln was shot.
Was in one.
They're not actually named specifically Lincoln boxes. It took me a minute. I got
fun
there.
that way.
Yeah.
But we mentioned it earlier too with the transition, but one of my favorite things that Dustin just kind of threw off the top of his head was someone asked about Ouija boards, and he's like, yeah, for $12.99 this demon can be yours. Like, and he was just kind of like, you can do what you want with it.
Take home a demon.
Just be careful.
Yep.
Or just don't do it.
Yeah, I don't have a thought to do that. But the theater itself was absolutely gorgeous.
Really pretty.
I don't think I've ever been
Beautiful.
down to the Fitzgerald before, so it was beautiful. Supposedly haunted. Dustin told us that, there's 2 spirits there, but supposedly nobody knows who the one woman spirit is supposed to be. So
She
The
has a
male
name,
spirit-
wasn't it Veronica or something?
yeah.
Yes.
But they have no idea. There's no record of her ever working there or being related to anybody there. So, or dying there.
Male spirit was sad.
Mm-hmm.
He was a stagehand that was drinking and
Froze to
Like,
death.
froze to death outside, which is like so sad.
Yep.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Hopefully he passed out before he died.
Probably.
I'm gonna say
hypothermia sets in.
yeah.
Well, yeah, I thought those were just
That
kind
one,
of my little thoughts that associated without telling too much detail of Dustin's show.
Right.
He was very, very good though.
Yeah, it was a fun show.
It was a really captivating show.
Thanks for joining us, everyone. Next week, we will be recapping the episode Inviting Evil, which is season 9, episode 9 on Max. Not sure what it is on everything else. We'll tell you about that next time. This one was requested by our patron, Shannon. She actually asked for this a while ago, but we already had scheduled a bunch of interviews, and so it got pushed until now. So that is what we're doing next week. Please join us. And also, that's another good perk of being a patron. You ask us to do something, and we'll do it.
Eventually.
I mean, within reason.
We get there.
Yeah, yeah.
As long as it's legal.
Yeah. And we will take your suggestions, even if you're not a patron.
Yeah.
And very often we'll do them anyway. So that's that. That's what we're doing next week.
All right. Well, thanks everybody.
Yep. Thanks. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to the Activity Continues podcast. We really appreciate you giving us your ears for a bit. Please reach out if you have a spooky story you'd like us to share on the show. We can be reached at theactivitycontinues@gmail.com or through our website or any of our socials. Links are all in the description of the show. Please feel free to drop us a note and say hi. And join us next time when the activity continues. The Activity Continues is produced by me, Amy, at Collected Sounds Media and is part of the independent Collected Sounds podcast network. We are also proud members of the Boo Pod network of super cool podcasts.
Nailed it.
This is just a disclaimer and sort of warning about this podcast. The Activity Continues podcast is in no way affiliated with the Dead Files, its production company, or any of its distributors. We are simply fans that love the show and love to talk about it and dissect it and, yes, make fun of it. But we do love it. And all of the opinions expressed herein are ours alone and have nothing to do with the Dead Files or any of its cast, crew, production, or distributors. And we swear. Enjoy.